After several years, Milwaukee has finally upgraded their M12 Rotary tool. This is the old one here, actual brushed motor on this, but it did work absolutely fine and still does. But now we have an M12 Brushless Rotary tool. So more power, supposedly 30% more power. And by the way, we got to use this at the last Milwaukee pipeline event. I believe that was back in June or July of this year, so a few months ago, but we got to use this tool, and it is quite a bit more power. Now speed, actual top speed, the old one was 32,000 and the new one is down to 27.5. I think just probably because there's really not many bits that require a higher speed than that. In fact, many bits are rated at that 27.5 or 25,000 and lower. So I'm assuming that's why we lowered the RPM. Don't really need much in that upper range, but we've got more power through that mid-range in those same RPM, still providing more power. So things like cutting, sanding, you're going to be able to apply a little bit more pressure during those times. We hope. We should see that here in just one moment. There's a lot of similarities between these two tools, and there's not a lot of changes you can make anyway on a rotary tool. You want it to be easy to handle and be able to provide the power you need, but at the same time it not be something intrusive. And it's not. Very, kind of inline type of tool. Again, not much difference in the bulging. This one's a little bit fatter, I'm sure, to make room for the more powerful brushless motor. And then rather than a dial for the actual speeds, we actually have push buttons here. And on the old one, we kind of had 6 different speeds, but really you had in-between modes as well. So you had really 11 different speeds. On this one, we actually get 12 different speeds. And actually, when we turn this on, we get the M12 fuel gauge, so we can see how much power is left in the battery. But also you see the light there, and even though there's only one light for 6 different locations, if you push the button, you'll get a blinking light in between the two. And so that's your half speed. So now we're down to 5, and then there's 4.5, and there's 4, and there's 3.5, and 3, and then back up 3.5 and 4. So kind of cool that we get 12 different settings, and even though we only have 6 different light locations, so very easy to dial in the speed that you're looking for. Also, an add is the LED light. So right there where you're going to be doing work, shine a little bit of light on the area you're working on. The old one did not have that, so that's nice to have as well. And then one of the major changes here, right here on the spindle end where you're making your bit changes, you'll get a wrench and screwdriver or scrunch or whatever they call this, a little tool with the rotary tool. And that's going to enable you to actually loosen that collet nut if you need to. We have a spindle lock right here on the rotary tool, kind of just like the old one, but again, we're getting to the difference here in a moment. So we can push that button, and when it reaches that detent, you can feel it, and that locks it into place. And you can use your wrench to loosen this, but you don't have to do that now, because the little snout right here, all you have to do is turn it about 1/8 of a turn, it clicks and it slides up, and that is your wrench. So you can use that to loosen the collet, pull your tool out, make your tool change. Again, take that little tip, put it in there, crank it down, lock it back down, and now you're good to go. So now you're no longer required to have a wrench nearby to be able to grab that and loosen the collet, because now this little snout right here is going to actually do that work. And if you can see here inside the cup, that's basically like a metal washer in there. So it's not the plastic that's actually providing the force. You've got some metal in there that should be able to hold up over time versus plastic trying to do that. And again, we're not having to thread that on there. It's just a quick 1/8 of a turn to lock it on. Also, if you notice when I pull this off, so adding accessories to different rotary tools, you still have a threaded spot right there. So adding those things to there, you still have that ability to do so. So we don't have to have just this tip on there. We can take it off and thread those different accessories on as we need to. So in this case, we've got a little barrel sander on here, and we'll just kind of go middle of the road there at speed 4. I think we applied a little too much pressure on our drum. Put a new one on here. be sure to crank that rubber grommet down, so make sure we're grabbing there. But you see, as far as powering the tool, so very easy to handle the tool, very easy to change the accessories. It sands absolutely fine. There's no bogging in that. Just, you hear a little bit of a pitch change, but really, even at half speed, plenty of power to sand away that wood. And then we've got a piece of copper in here. Let's go ahead and change out this tool. There's no safety collet here, so we don't have to loosen it twice. Crank it down. Now we've got a cutting tool in there. No problem cutting that. I'll even speed it up here. So very quick to cut through that copper. And this is a cool little test. Got a piece of PVC in here, a piece of Schedule 40, by the way. And I've got a cutoff disc, not a fiber disc, but more for tile and different sorts of material, so it's not going to bind up in the PVC or melt it. It's actually going to cut. But from the inside, we'll actually make this cut. And by the way, this is rated at 35,000 RPM, so I can put it on high if I want to. So I can blast through that really quickly. And then even things like drilling, especially when it comes to plastics and things that are brittle, not so much wood, but using a drill bit in a rotary tool can many times save that plastic from breaking and it actually drilling through really quickly. And obviously using carbide tips on here for aluminum, steel, things like that for small jobs, a great idea. You can get this new Milwaukee M12 Brushless Rotary tool, and model number is the 2525, and you can get it as a bare tool for $129, and you'll get a 5-year warranty on that. You can also buy it in a kit with a 1 2-amp-hour battery and charger for $199, or step up to the 2-battery kit for $239, and again, getting the 5-year warranty, but you'll get a 4-amp-hour extended runtime battery as well as a 2-amp-hour battery and the charger for that $239.